Sefer Shoftim, the Book of Judges. The Book of Judges is named after the inspiring regional chieftains, the so-called judges, who led their tribes on the battlefield and also frequently provided them with spiritual guidance and leadership. The word Shoftim, or judge, really has several meanings, or shall we say it has one meaning but has several applications. Shoftim is translated as judges, but it's a horrendous translation because if we look at every one of the judges in the book of Judges, not one of them judges actually. Possibly the one time we saw that function of judging is in that one verse in chapter 4 where Deborah judged. But in the context of the book of Judges, a judge is some sort of a military leader, as we see in chapters 2. And Yah raised up judges, and they saved them from the hand of those who had spoiled them. So a Shoftim means a leader who commands with authority. A judge really means a leader who commands with authority, an authority figure who commands respect, more significantly loyalty. Chronologically, while the book constitutes the natural continuation of the book of Joshua, it describes events that transpire over a much longer period of biblical history. The course of the book of Judges covers a period of almost 400 years. From the preliminary attempts by the tribes to secure their allotted lands until the eve of the monarchy centuries later. The period of the Shoftim was perhaps the most turbulent in all of biblical history, as the people of Israel struggled mightily to lay the foundations of their state in the shadow of very powerful and corrosive cultural, moral, and military threats. During the course of this series, we shall grapple not only with textual difficulties and the complexities of exegesis, but we will also encounter many important and thought-provoking issues that are introduced by the narratives of this book. Let us begin. Judges 1. And it was after the death of Joshua that the children of Israel asked of Yah, saying, Who shall go up for us first against the Canaanites to fight against them? And Yah said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have given the land into his hand. And Judah said to Simon his brother, Come up with me into my lot, and we will fight against the Canaanites. And I will also go with you into your lot. And Simon went with him. The narrative begins with a description of the battles of the tribe of Judah. But the opening phrase of the book is, of course, reminiscent of the beginning of the book of Joshua. Let's compare the two. In Judges 1, we read, And it was after the death of Joshua that the children of Israel asked of Yah, saying, In Joshua 1, we read, And it was after the death of Moshe, the servant of Yah, that Yah said to Joshua, the son of Nun. During this series, we will have many occasions to compare and contrast the book of Judges with the book of Joshua. While the two books share an intrinsic chronological link, they are fundamentally different in theme and in implication. The book of Joshua was the description of the entry into the land of Israel by the tribes of Israel, some 40 years after the exodus of Egypt. Before the demise of Moses, he had appointed at Yah's behest a successor to lead the people into the new land, a capable teacher and gifted warrior by name Joshua. Joshua was successful. Under his rule, the tribes of Israel together battled the Canaanite confederacies and achieved impressive results. By the time of Joshua's death, the major military alliances of the Canaanites had been defeated, as recorded famously in chapters 12, the King's List. But the defeat of the chief Canaanite city-state armies did not signify the end of the conflict. The land was still largely unsettled, and Israel had yet to set down significant and lasting roots. In order to do so successfully, it was not sufficient to defeat the Canaanites on the battlefields, a process that did not take more than a few years. In order to claim the land as their own, the people of Israel were called upon to make it theirs by doing two things. Number one, by clearing its brush, cultivating its hills, and building their towns and cities along its length and breadth. And then number two, avoiding the charms of Canaanite polytheism. This task of settlement and habitation implied a much more extended progression lasting decades, if not centuries. The associated mandate to eliminate all indigenous traces of idolatry could not possibly be completed overnight. Not at all. This dual undertaking could not be accomplished during Joshua's lifespan, even though it was lengthy. This was quite obviously spelled out in the Torah itself, as Yah addressed the people of Israel while they stood at Sinai many years earlier. In the immediate aftermath of the revelation, this is what Yah tells them. Exodus 23. I will not drive them away from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field outnumber you. Verses 30. I will drive them out from before you little by little. So as the book of Judges begins, the land still remains unconquered. The smashing of the Canaanite confederacies and their combined armies in the time of Joshua may have removed the immediate existential threat from the tribes of Israel, but the individual tribal allotments still had to be possessed, and the local military threats still had to be overcome. It is this story of that possession, its triumphs, and more often its setback, that constitutes the bulk of the book of Judges.